If you want to operate commercial transport on Ontario roads, or if you're a tow truck operator, then you must pass a knowledge test to get your CVOR certificate. Hi, my name is Andrew Tsirkin, and let's get you prepared. Take a look at the first question. A commercial motor vehicle operator is responsible for... Below are 4 answers. Think about them and pick the one that fits the best. Pause the video if necessary. Now, if you answer D, conduct of the driver, mechanical safety condition of the vehicle, and the goods or passengers on the vehicle, then you are correct. If you answered something else, then you're not alone, because the majority of people think they're only responsible for the mechanical safety of the vehicle and/or goods, but they're not responsible for the actions of another human being, namely a driver. This common sense logic does not apply here. Everything related to CVOR is as far removed from democracy as the moon from Earth. Consider this. In a military organization, a squad leader is going to be held responsible for the actions of all individuals entrusted to him. If anything happens, then in addition to the person who committed the violation, a squad leader is also going to be held accountable. I hope that things are going to be going well with you, and if you use this as a metaphor, you're going to be able to tackle most of the responsibility type questions. You are your squad leader, and you are responsible for the overall safe operation of your company. You could be sitting in your office, and your driver could be picking up a load across the country. But you're still responsible for his conduct, the vehicle, the cargo, and, by the way, the overall weight. Now, in practice, a statement that an operator is responsible for the conduct of the driver means the following. If the driver is being inspected by an officer and the violation is discovered, for example, the driver produced a false log, then 2 citations can be issued. One to the driver and the second one to the carrier. Take a look at this instance. Company T and driver J had been issued citations for driver J producing a false log. They were issued for the same reason, at the same time. The only difference between the two is that the carrier was charged $950 and the driver was charged $480. While we're on the subject, this is a speeding citation issued to a driver in the state of California. Total came down to $481.95 US. And if you think that this is harsh, then take a look at this record-setting citation issued for being overweight. $5,240 US, issued by the state of Oregon. Whenever someone tells me, oh, I don't have time or money for safety, I go, well, that's stupid. You're different. So pay close attention, because as we go through the questions, I will provide you with information necessary to pass your CVOR test, and at the same time give you practical, applicable scenarios that could cost you a lot of money. Take the second question. Only collisions that occur in the operator's vehicles should be reported to the operator. True or false? Take your time to think this through and pause the video if necessary. The correct answer is false. Your driver is responsible to report to you all collisions regardless of the vehicle type. While many people might think, well, why is that? Why does the driver have to report collisions in their personal vehicles? This comes from a giant study of collisions in the United States performed by the insurance companies. Basically, they concluded that a driver's behavior is identical, regardless of what type of vehicle they're driving. If a driver has 4 speeding tickets and had been involved in 2 accidents while driving a personal vehicle, he or she is not going to turn magically into safety man or woman when they get behind the wheels of your truck. Also, insurance companies have calculated that if a driver was involved in an accident in the past year, then the likelihood of an accident this year is 67%. My business experience confirms this. So you must respond to bring this huge likelihood down. If a driver wants to hide something, then what do? Well, once per year you are responsible for pulling out their abstracts. These are ministry records that will show you their collisions or convictions. Now, I must admit, during my 16 years of experience in the transportation industry, I've done a lot of things. I went to courts to fight tickets, I've passed a number of Canadian, US, and insurance audits, and I even became a transportation of dangerous goods instructor. But my best stories come from pulling out those abstracts. Driver was involved in an accident driving for another carrier on a day when, according to my records, he was on vacation. Meaning driver lied to me that he was going on vacation in the first place. He actually went out and got another job, but unfortunately for him, he got into an accident. So he decided to come back and work for me again without telling me anything. Another driver at the time of hiring had produced a clean driver and CVOR abstract with 0 violations on it. In his application for employment, he also stated that he didn't have any accident incidents or violations in the past 3 years. However, when I pulled out his record 1 year later, as required, I had discovered that he had as many as 5 violations approximately 3 months before his hire date. I'm not going to go into details as to how he was able to keep those things off the record, but I will tell you this. When you spot an individual like this, act quickly. It's a time bomb that will cost you $5,000 in insurance deductible billing. Another driver license had been suspended for not paying a traffic ticket. And while the ministry may issue a big and hefty fine for operating a CMV without a valid license, that's not the biggest thing. Consider this. If that driver was involved in an accident while his driver license was suspended, and there's a $50,000 insurance claim pending, well, then the insurance company has a pretty good reason not to pay for it. So pulling out those abstracts is going to be your best defense. It will prove that you had done your due diligence to ensure that all of your drivers were adequately licensed. Now take on the final question. All drivers, vehicles, and roadways in Ontario fall under the Highway Traffic Act and its related regulations, the Motor Vehicle Transport Act, the Motor Vehicle Fitness Certification Regulation, or all of the above. Is this option A, B, C, or D? You may be tempted to answer option D, but the question includes drivers, and you may not be fully sure if drivers are covered by the Motor Vehicle Fitness Certification Regulation. Quite frankly, I don't see a lot of value in asking you this question. Also, the safety manual provided by the ministry on its website is a 300-page document. It has lots of numbers and it can be frustrating to try to memorize them all, especially since you don't know which numbers are important and which aren't. On top of that, the procedure to get your CVOR is slow. You send in your application. They take 10 business days to enter the information into their system. Then they mail out your authorization letter to take the test. When it's done, the results are being sent back. They take 10 business days to process the results and issue a certificate. In the meantime, you just want to get on the road and do what you do best while making money at it. The correct answer to this question is A, the Highway Traffic Act and its related regulations. It is an Ontario-specific act and it covers drivers, vehicles, and roadways. The rest of the options fail either to be Ontario-specific or cover drivers. Now we went through 3 questions and covered a lot of material. We also went through practical scenarios. So it's time to stop and make a decision. And it's entirely up to you. You can either go, well, I don't have time or money for this. Or if you want to be at a place when you would have had already passed your CVOR test because you went by the course, I guarantee you would look back at today's date and say to yourself, it's a good decision. So act today and go for it. It's a good investment that will pay for itself in hundreds of dollars saved on citations, and you will also avoid paying thousands of dollars in insurance claims. See you in the virtual classroom.